Welcome back to my lecture series on computer networks, and we have been discussed most of the topics in the data link layer, and today we are going to deal on with the one more media access which is connected to the wireless local area network, and that is called as the Bluetooth. So regarding Bluetooth, it is a wireless LAN technology which is used to connect various devices with different functionalities such as telephones or notebooks or cameras, printers, mobile phones, etc. So it is concerned with the wireless LAN technology, and moreover this Bluetooth acts as an ad hoc network. That is, immediately then and there the network can be formed and the data can be transmitted over in that network. So ad hoc means always says that we connect two systems at a time for data communication or data transfer. And in this video we are going to look on into the architecture of the Bluetooth, what all the layers present in the Bluetooth, the major functions of the baseband layer, and how the communications takes place between the devices, and finally to conclude with the frame format of the Bluetooth. uh, Entering into the architecture of this Bluetooth, we have two types of network that can be formed over. One is called as the Piconet. Piconet is the basic connectivity. That means we are going to connect to a primary system by the secondary systems. So here it forms a simple network, and it can be called as a relationship of master slave kind of communication. So the primary mobile systems or the primary system acts as the master, and the secondary systems will act as the slave systems. And when you go for the scatter net, it means that more than one piconet connected together is called as the scatter net. And in the scatter net, one of the piconet devices will act as a slave for another scatter net. So either a master system or a slave system will act as an intermediator between the two piconets. So this type of network is called as the scatter net. So coming on into the Bluetooth layers, the layered architecture of the Bluetooth is given as from the radio layer, because we are connecting the Bluetooth devices using the radio wave frequencies. So if you take for example a remote TV remote which is connected to the TV system for operation, the signals will be transmitted using the radio waves. So here the physical layer communication takes place with a radio wave communication, and hence this layer is called as the radio layer, which takes all the physical layer functionalities. Second comes with the baseband layer. Here the baseband layer is related or be relevant to the media access control sublayer in the OSI layer architecture of data link layer. So this has all the sort of functions related to the data link layer, and a part of the layer will be called as the L2CAP layer, which converts the data from higher layers to the lower layers, and accordingly the data will be transmitted into the baseband layer and the radio layer for transmission. And as usual we have the application layers and control layer, data layer, etc. And now the communication between the devices in the Bluetooth is taken as a primary secondary communication. The primary system, as I told you before, it takes the role of master system, and secondary system will act as a slave system. So the initiator of the communication will be always the primary system, and it starts transmitting the signals in the frequency. And here the frequency spectrums has been divided, called as F0, F1, F2, F3, and it goes on. And whenever the primary starts the communication, the secondary system or the slave system will listen it. After that the frame, the secondary can start transmitting its own frame into the wireless communication network. So this is called as the single primary secondary communication, where only one secondary system is allowed to communicate with the primary system. Suppose if I want to communicate more number of secondary systems with the primary system, here comes the architecture of that. Here We have two secondary systems and one primary system which can be communicated. As usual, the primary starts the communication and the secondary two systems should compete for the channel before they start sending the frames into the frequencies. And finally, we are going to look on into the frame format of the Bluetooth. Here Bluetooth consists of the access code, which is mainly used for synchronization and for bit transmission initialization factors, and the every frame format consists of an header information. This header information will consist of the address of the device to which we have to transmit the data, the type of the information which is transmitted inside the frame, and we have another sequence information with flow control which is given by 3 bits F, A and S. F stands for flow, AEQN and SEQN, and finally the header error control is given by the HEC bits, which is mainly used for error detection and controlling information. And additionally, for this L2CAP data packet format, it consists of the length of the data which is to be transmitted and the channel ID, which is very important because there is an open competition for the wireless channel, and hence in which channel that particular data will be transmitted will be identified using the channel ID, and the data will be carried over into this channel with a size of minimum size of 0 to maximum size of 65,535 bytes of this data. And hence Bluetooth supports for short range communication, which is allowed to happen within the 10 meters of the distance with the radio wave frequency communication. Thank you, and the reference is given over here.